get out of your comfort zone. In life there will be challenges, testing whether you weak or strong. So don't let obstacles deter you. Just shake up yourself and move on, I tell you. Out of your comfort zone. You know that life is a mixture of the good, the bad and ugly. So don't stress yourself over issues that will change your reality, I tell you. Out of your comfort zone. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have greatness in you. Yes, you have greatness in you. I know that you have greatness in you. Oh, oh. You have greatness in you.
Wow. Okay, well, there it is. The song is saying, you sometimes you face challenges, to test whether you're good or to test your strength. And there we are being tested here today. But that is the way life goes. As I said earlier on, I'm Raphael Pablo, the host for today's program for the Comfort Zone as usual. And before I get to my guests, I just want to remind people that about, that essay competition within the St. Max. You can still make contributions, As it stands, we will have to make some adjustments as to our prize giving ceremony. And I want to say thank you to the TGM, to Dr. Patrick Antoine and the TGM. They have come forward and have made significant commitment. And I was speaking to one of the contact person on that issue. And I want to say thank you to them for the effort and the commitment that they are making to facilitate the St. Mark COVID-19 essay competition. Because you have to be grateful for whatever situation, whatever development, whatever opportunities, whatever input, whatever contribution that is made towards the success of whatever you're involved in. So I want to say thank you at this point, because it was on this very platform that I presented I presented to Dr. Patrick Antoine the request for his input, for the input of the TGM into making this event the success that we expect it to be. So you can still contribute. As I told you before, we have teachers like Carol Ellis, Tikima Paul, Fossil Charles, and Shad Noel. You can reach out to them. And Mr. Cole Bristol, that's the front man. And you can reach him at 473-418-0382 to make your contribution towards the success. Before I actually take a short break and come back with our guest. Sometimes in life, or I should start by saying, everyone is challenged. There's this man, and he's known very well. I believe Brother John Kelly's met him personally. It's something that I would like to do one day to meet him personally. His name is Les Brown. And is a man that was challenged in life. And he has gone on to become one of the most renowned motivational speakers. And he himself said that he has been challenged. He said, life said to him, we're not going to spare you. We got something for you too. He said, I was confronting everyone, and he was comforting everyone. And life said to him, he said, man, oh, you say you the comforter? Let's get the comforter. Let's hit him below the belt. Let's give him a good punch, a good gut punch, you know. And he say he goes with the territory, because once you are in that zone, you are going to be challenged. You are going to be faced with certain situations, and he himself had to get through it. And he says that most people, when they face disruption in their life, they find it easier to die rather than to live. And he made the point that in Japan, you have more people that have died during this period, that have died from suicide, than from the coronavirus, because people are faced with certain challenges and they just give up on life. They rather to die than to try to live through it and to go through it, you know. So we have to do our best, and don't allow being in our comfort zone, that space where we feel comfortable and we're not challenged, to really get out there and to take on life and to try to do things that's going to make a difference, not only in our lives, but in the lives of other people. And I have with me a guest today. So after this song, we take a short break. And after this song, we'll get back to you with our guest. And he is going to tell you part of his story. So Brother John, if you have that lined up there, play for me My Story by Carlos Pecos Lewis. We'll take a verse and a chorus. We ain't going to take the entire song.
A story I want to tell about a good friend of mine who living in hell. He say, my good friend, please listen to me. We know that is a reality, so the little life you have, don't throw it away, because you will want it another day. I said, I don't understand. Tell me what is going on. On his face, I could see frustration. He said, I create my own problems. You cannot help me solve them. He shake his head, and I see tears running down his face. And then he tell me, you don't have to take no drugs to be a star. Drugs is a killer. You don't have to take no drugs to be a champ. Or you will end up a vagrant. You don't have to take no drugs to be number one. You will end up in a slum. You don't have to take no drugs to play sports. I want you to, cause that's no joke. You have a choice. Just say no to drugs. Yes, my brother. And if you never start, don't try, because you're going to die. Hey. He say, I know you won't believe me. If you take a look around, I show you will see.
Yes, Brother John. First time you're hearing this one, Brother John, right? Right. I tell you, you remember I told you the man is a multi-talented man? So, for our listeners, for our viewers, this was our guest, the man who is right here on the Gem FM platform with us this afternoon, Carlos Pecos Lewis, footballer, coach, basketballer. I mean, you just name it. He's going to outline for you what he does and what he's been involved in. Welcome, Carlos. Welcome, Pecos. Welcome to the comfort zone this afternoon.
Yeah, Pablo, thanks for having me, man. I sit here and I'm blushing and my face can't stop smiling. I listen to a song and I kind of very pleased. Listen it from another angle.
Right.
It's as a for me, it's about the feelings, and I sang a
Mm-hmm.
song with kind of a self-understanding and self-realization.
Mm-hmm.
I know where I came from, I know where I want to get, and that
Mm-hmm.
song helped me to really get to get to that point.
Okay.
So it's good to be here with you and good to see you doing that, man. My
Yeah.
compliments to you for the effort, man. I'm very, very impressed.
All right. Well, thank you. So now that we started, I mean, just tell our listeners, because this is your first time on this platform. I've been bigging you up even last night on the other program. I did tell listeners, I did tell the other panelists to expect you. Some of them know you personally, but he said yes, he knows Carlos, he knows well. We had Sandra Ferguson, she knows you personally, and so. And I know Coach is listening. Coach Naka Joseph is listening with us here this evening. I try to actually, I'm going to put it out there. I try to get him to come on here this evening, but he tell me now that is your show. You're leaving it up to you. You know what I mean? To do your thing. Yes, Coach. I'm telling people that you turned me down. Yeah, he turned me down. Yeah, he turned me down today.
Pablo, you can't take the heat. Can't
Yeah,
take the heat.
all right.
Heat.
He
Yeah,
turned me
challenge.
down today. Yeah, he turned me
Yeah,
down
can't
today,
take the
man.
heat. Can't
You
come up
know.
together.
So yeah, but you here, so just you know, in short, just tell people who is Carlos Pecos Lewis, who and I mean, just give us a little background.
Well, Carlos Pecos Lewis is a man that born in, actually, I born in Lance,
Mm-hmm.
and I spent most of my years in Harlem, Guava State.
Right.
I juggled from Guava Center to Guava State back and forth, but my grandmother used to work in the health center.
Okay.
She worked for many years in the health center as the cleaner, caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent a lot of years helping her, and from Harlem, Guava State to the Lance, back and forth. And I was one of the kids that go off, people say, stray. In those days, they used to say, when you're going to school, you stray. You ain't going to school and you're all over the place. And that is how I survive in Gov. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, my folks, my parents gone to England, and I was left with my grandparents.
Your grandmother, yeah.
My parents still in England. My mother and father
Okay.
still in England.
Okay.
I
They
had
both still alive, yeah?
yeah, my parents is
Boy,
in
boy,
England.
you're fortunate. I've lost both mine already.
Yeah, well, unfortunately in a sense, but in that sense that I mean, it would be nice if I was, but
Able
I'm
to.
not regretting that I'm here. But
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
having to be here all these
mm-hmm.
years, it gives me a different way of looking at things, not depending
Okay.
on them for, to guide me, but I have to look into my own self and the community to help me to be where I am today.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
that's who Carlos Pecos is, and
mm-hmm,
like I say, my life is a struggle.
mm-hmm.
I do many things as a youngster growing up in Gov, you do piece of this, piece of that,
Mm-hmm.
and you survive. That's
Okay.
part of it.
Well, many people got to know you as from your footballing days, from your footballing career, as you played for different clubs. You made it to the national team. You were one of the lead forwards players for the players in the forwards, I should say, for the national team. Tell us a little bit about those days, the very beginning, because I remember guys like you and Leo George and so on playing for the RC school. And I remember there used to be a very strong competition between the different primary schools. And I'm in St. Mark here, and I remember there used to be a major contention between us and the Victoria School and so on. Tell us a little bit about, your football growing up days during that period. You know?
When my journey starts way back in the early years. I
Mm-hmm.
remember playing in the yard, you know. So we didn't have a yard actually. It's a drain with some stones all around it. And I used to play kicking pan, kicking bottle, everything. And I used to take out some toenail when already, I kick it under my foot, just no shoes.
I know.
I was saying some guys in the park the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I showed him, he says, Coach, what do you do? I said, boy, I kick out this nail and them sit like, boy, just kicking thing in the yard.
Okay. Okay.
And playing mechanic and pasture. I
Mm-hmm.
played in St. Rose on the
Mm-hmm.
yard. Anyway, football playing, I used to be playing as a youngster.
Used to be
And
there,
then
right?
one day I was in Harlem playing in the street. In those days,
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't much vehicles much vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing the road, and this guy passing, George Peters, he was a police
I remember,
survivor.
yeah. Survivor,
and
the
song,
Calypsonian, yeah.
right,
Calypsonian,
and
also musician and so
musician.
on.
Well,
Mhm.
that's a part of my story too. That's how I
Yes,
get
that's
involved
we'll
in the
get to
music.
that. We'll get to
Yeah, yeah.
that.
So she saw me playing on the street, you know.
Mhm.
So he say, why you play for him? I know, and those days I had what you call a loose mouth, kind of
Mhm.
arrogant, kind of rude,
Mhm.
back talk,
Mhm.
back cheek. So in my own way, I say, well, make a team happy for it, you know.
Mhm.
So he didn't make it in me truth, but he didn't make
Mhm.
it the same year. He made it in me following year. I think
Mhm.
was called Santos,
Yeah, I
and
remember Santos.
right, and the men on the team was we call a few like Leo George. You have
Mhm.
Alex, you have Rat, you
Yeah.
have Johnny, you have Bios, Trevor
Mhm.
Callis, you have Laurie Lumsden, you have Joe Vincent, you have George
Right.
Peters,
Mhm.
you have Mashi as
Mhm.
Michael
Michael
Church,
Church, yes.
right, and he went to be parliamentarian gov at some time,
Mhm.
right. So
Yeah.
that is the campaign I started playing for with,
Mhm.
and I got an award that year, same year, because I was kind of a promising player, so they gave me an award. I was Scotty. The,
Mhm.
the I think St. John's Sports used to organize competition at the time,
Cotty,
and
you say, meaning Cuthbert Peters,
because
after whom
Scotty the name
the major
right, they
playing
renamed
field
the
has been
park after
named.
him.
Yeah,
Right,
because it used to
that's
be
what they
called
named it.
Windsor Park.
Right, so they renamed it
Yeah.
from Winter Park to Cobra Peters Park. And so Cotty
Yeah.
was the one that is in charge of St. John's Sports at the time. So
Right.
they draft me on St. John's Sports. And
Mhm.
the time was me and Baby Joy.
Right.
Baby Joy I was just about 16, 17 years, young player.
Mhm.
And St. John's Sports team. And when I got to the team, I met
Mm.
men like Dan Marquez, Boxo, Johnson Campbell, Moe, Carson Frank,
Okay.
Alexis
Okay.
Sullivan, Jabi. These are the kind of men I met Suku. And I was
Mhm.
a little boy, and me and Baby Joy among these guys and
Among
them.
these men,
You know,
right.
but we were those standing players, you know, they recognized our talent and they were kind of molding us because they were the one that going out. And
Mhm.
we was the one that they foresee that coming in.
Mhm.
Hazari was the wrong attempt too. But Hazari left
Mhm.
shortly after that because he got that opportunity with a club called Dazzlers. He went to the States. So
Okay,
he
I
didn't play
remember
much.
that
He
too.
didn't play much of the football. So that's where I
Mhm.
started. So in a couple of years after, I started playing for Senior Sports. Then I got selection for the national team.
Mhm.
I again was one of the youngest players on the team. Myself and a guy called Yankee Man. They're after the playing. And Anthony
Mhm.
Paul. Anthony
Yeah.
Paul from Victoria. We were
Mhm.
the three youngest on the team at the time. And
Okay.
on the national team was me like Eros Rapier, Carson Frank, Bull,
Mhm.
no, yeah, Eros Rapier, Bull, Jackson, and Coco Monkey. You have a guy called Willie, he was a white man. And that is someone
Yes,
to
I
get and
remember
Ramco.
Whaley. Whaley used to be a teacher at PBC at the time. Came
Right.
from
And
England, yes.
he was right. He was a member of the
Mhm.
team when at that little boy, 19 years, 19,
Mhm.
20 years, that little boy, a young player. So
Right.
I started playing the thing about that now, we had a little practice match. He was playing, we had about 20 of us. So we was playing
Mhm.
among ourselves. And when I was on the team, a guy off score a goal, but I see, the man offside, man, the man offside. You know me, I kind of ignorant of me, hostility and thing. So Roy St. John called me because Roy St. John was the coach, manager. You have Lai and you have Plug. These guys was the one in charge of the team. So St. John called me and he said, look, Tony boy, go and sign up on the side. So, you know, I got some inside, you know, feeling that maybe give me a chance to rest. So after the match finished, they called us together and he said, today, this young star is no longer a member of the team. Pablo, all my life will follow.
Wow.
I get stuck with him. So he
Yes.
said he don't want to put him on the field of play to go arguing the referee.
Right.
So Ashley Van Folk was the captain, well not the captain, but he was that kind of a power voice on the team.
Yeah,
So he
senior
tells
member
St.
of
John,
the
you know,
team.
give
Okay.
me a second. So that's my second chance in football. So the first one I got was from George Peters.
Mm-hmm.
And Ashley Van Folk gave me my second one by
Mm-hmm.
saying, give me the second chance. And I
Mm-hmm.
never leave that field from that second chance I got from Ashley Van Folk in 1975
Mm-hmm.
until today. You understand? So I
Okay.
played for Grenada for many years. And well, around the time in the 70s, you know what, you have the strike, the demonstration, the looting, the shooting, the fire burning, the killing of Bishop and Cool and them, Bird and Mato, Mongoose Gang and them thing. So that was the era which we used to play football in. So 79, 79 was the revolution. We didn't have much football in 79. We have come back in 80. I went to England in 79. I came back in 80 because we played football again. I lost my team in 1980. Now 79, 80, I lost my play in the national team because I become a vegetarian. I kind of make a total change around. in my diet. Not eating, I stopped with meat, I stopped with fish, I stopped drinking milk, I stopped with another thing that I used to do, I stopped eating. I started going locks now because I get the rasta business. I stopped go locks and I started going locks and things. I started eating them things. So I lose my play because I didn't have the energy to play.
Okay.
So when I went to England and I came back from England in 1980. I went back in 1983. But at the time I used to, I was one of the players that used to referee and play at the same time. No, that was not allowed in Grenada football to be a player and a referee at the same time. But I was fortunate that I was able to do that because I was one of the leading referees behind. They had me like Bumpy Griffith, Norris Photo. These are the senior referees, but like I said, they were coming to a stage now where they were going, and they had to kind of replace them with other referees. So I was one of the players that was grooming to playing at the same time and refereeing at the same time. So when I stopped playing 85, when Bobby said kind of fall apart 85, I end up refereeing full time.
So you were playing in the GFA competition, but you were also a referee
in the same competition.
In the same competition.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were playing in those days. When did the Premier League start? Because I remember earlier on it used to be first, second, and third division. I believe they had third division
yes,
too.
First and third.
Yes. But then it came. When did the Premier League come into being? And the time that you started refereeing, had they gone to Premier League already, or was it still the first?
No, they were still first, second, and third league. They were still at the first, second, and third league.
Okay.
So I cannot remember exactly when the Premier League started.
When it started.
I did referee in the Premier League. If you remember with them, Harry Walker and this Harry Walker International.
Right. Yes,
I referee all this league and I referee all those
during those days.
Yeah. So that's why I get involved in refereeing. But I get involved in refereeing to Piped.
Okay,
was a referee. He was one.
What Sullivan was he again?
Morris Sullivan.
Morris Sullivan, yes.
Yeah. Brother of Alexis Sullivan, which
Alexis
was
Sullivan, who was one of the top goalkeepers for the country.
And the island.
Grenada, yes, one of the best that we've seen too.
In that same tournament, we went to St. Vincent. That my first trip was to St. Vincent. That same year, my parent, which is Morris Sullivan, he was because in every tournament you go, the country had to send a referee. So he was the Grenada referee in the tournament, and Bull was also. We got 2 awards in that tournament. Anthony Paul got the outstanding player in the tournament as the youngest player, and then we have Bull getting the best goalkeeper in the Bermuda Islands at the time. So Grenada got 2 awards in that competition. We didn't win the championship, but we got 2 awards in the tournament. So it's true piping. I end up refereeing because at the time he used to always take the alcohol. He used to be drunk on Sundays.
Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah.
Right. So he used to ask me. One day he asked me to referee. I said, I can referee. He said, man, you can referee, man. So he said, ain't you know that for? I said, yes. He said, well, that's what you're blowing. You're looking for things that you know that is illegal. So I went and for the match, and I found I do a good job.
All right.
So I continued refereeing, and I ended up being a FIFA referee at one point. I guess so good. I used to go and referee tournaments out of Grenada as a FIFA referee, right? And so that's how I keep transferring from playing to refereeing. So in '91, I started coaching around the time. I used to coach in senior sports. I used to coach primary school. I started working in ministry. I started working as a groundsman in 1981. So part of my job was to tend to the ground. But I got involved in coaching, and as I get further in the coaching, you attend courses, you learn certain things along the way. And when I started working in ministry, I was promoted to a sports officer. And the sports officer duty now is to take care of controlling all the activities in St. John's.
Okay. If I may take you back just a bit, you say you started playing for Santos. I remember there was a very significant local competition during those days, and you had a number of different teams. And from Santos, you would have played for who else? You played for Benfica. I remember Harlem team used to be called Benfica. And
yes, the name has changed from time.
During those days, there used to be the different clubs and so. And as I remember it, the clubs didn't own. They were not only involved in one sporting discipline. They would field different teams in the different disciplines. Can you speak to that period?
But growing up in Guelph, sports in St. John's, we were never bind to one sport.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like when you was young growing up and you go and see a Tarzan movie, next day you Tarzan. You go and see a Fu Manchu movie, next day you Fu Manchu. You go and see a Zero movie, next day you Zero.
Zero, yeah.
Next day you go and see a Western, just in the studio, live and creatures and do it. That's good. So that's how it was. Right? So when it's cricket, either you with Australia, you with West Indies, Pakistan. When it's football, you with Brazil, you with Germany, you with something. And in those days, we didn't see football. It more listen to BBC because on Saturdays you see like, and the team we used to talk about most about Liverpool, Dundee United. That's the kind Queen's Park Rangers. That's the kind of game that we used to listen to on Saturday. So we used to just see listen to the mind.
Yes, you used to visualize it.
Yes. And based on how the announcer will describe things for you, you can have an idea what you're talking about and we're going to practice it. So we didn't play one sport. Every time when the sports season comes, we play all different sports. So we don't play different sports. So I play for Santos and then I move for Benfica.
Okay.
And like I say, for the team that my first club, my first JFA club was St. John Sports.
Okay.
I'm going to start the first. And then when in 1975, when they go on the repairs, because St. John's playing field out upgraded in 75. So St. John's Sports said he wasn't going to play. So I decided, me and Woods decided to come play for Ball Wizard.
Right.
So I said to Lake, I only played for 1 year. And I was going back on St. John's Sports the following year. But when I get on St. John's Sports and Ball Wizard, I met men like Miak, Stano, Soup, and those men like to train.
Miak, that's Hugh Commission.
Hugh Commission, yeah. And
right.
I mean, that's my virgin. I'm a virgin to the bone.
Right.
So we couldn't train in Guav because the field was under repairs. So we used to run up in Victoria. That time Zamba that easy going. So what Zamba used to do? Zamba used to come up with the bus. We just in Victoria. When we finish training, we come down with the bus. So that's how we started. And then when I then bought with the team, Pablo, I really started to enjoy football because I get men who like to train. I get men who teach me the football because I could have played. But sometimes we're lacking the fundamental, we're lacking the basic, we're lacking the psychology in the game, we're lacking, the understanding.
Right.
And Lake was a master of the game.
Yeah.
Carlson Frank.
That's Carlson Frank, yeah.
Still the man that master the game. And the man to teach me things, tell me things. And I used to play outside left.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I remember that left foot. Although you could kick with the right almost equally, both of them, but the left is the one that goalkeepers used to be afraid of.
Well, if we both of them. So Lake suggested to me, he said, Bill, so he's calling me, Bill.
Yeah, because Bill, yes.
Because Bill. He said, Bill, why are you going to play in the middle? So I was kind of reluctant because I kind of like, and the reason why I like the left side is because in the park, those days, the field was not south.
Right.
Not yes.
Yeah, not south, yeah.
And the majority of girls players used to be on the side at the court. I didn't want to go on no side.
You want to go in, yes.
If I'm kicking up, I kick on the side of the court. If I'm kicking down, I go on the side of the court.
Okay. Tell me about it.
Yeah, he suggested to me, go and play in the middle. And I never regret playing in the middle. I was able to dribble on both sides and shoot left and right. So I started enjoying playing in the middle. So that when I make Grenada team, when I got picked from Grenada team, that's where I used to play. I used to play up front, me and Borg Belfont. That's where I used to play. So I really enjoy. So that is how my football career really took off. And in those days, we had the local football competition, and we used to have it on a kind of community basis.
Yeah.
Like you had Mongrambi, you had Grand Royce come up, Concord coming up, you had Maran coming down, you had Dr. Bell coming down, and it brings out the community, because when the community hear the team going and play, they want to come, and in those days it was not that we didn't have all this internet, we didn't have all this phone and all this TV and things, so people didn't have not much thing to do. You can come and see a football game.
Yeah,
so that's
because as you mentioned Ball Wizards, and as you mentioned coming from the different communities, the different villages, Ball Wizards was born from in the back street, that area we call Vasco and Edward Street area, from Hugh Commission and Hazari, Marquez, and so on, as a local team.
Yeah.
And then they went through second division and got into the first division.
Right.
Can you just tell us a bit more about that period and the level, the quality of the competition that existed those times? Because eventually we ended up with 3 first division teams: St. John Sports, Ball Wizards, and Uprising Roots, because there were so many players. St. John Sports alone couldn't take in all of those. Tell us about that period. I see that we have in the chat room here, we have Lincoln Depradin. He's saying, "Hey, Pecos, I ain't
Yeah.
see you since the days Carinage United used to come up to golf to beat
Yeah,
up
no.
Ball Wizards." He
You
said,
clicking.
good days of football, very
Yeah,
enjoyable.
man.
Carinage,
Bless him, man.
I cried.
They got it. Toro, I know Toro, man.
Yeah, I know. I know you
But
really.
he and the brother, the Yankee man, they put in.
Right.
So my brother up to today, and I meet him is a love. We
Yes.
share. But come back and the point you're trying to make about the teams in St. John. Every team I
Mhm.
just mentioned is a breakaway from one another.
Right.
St. John's Sport was what we call the
Was the
original team.
original, yes.
Yeah. Always a breakaway from St. John's Sport because of some of the players that they had. I say you had Menak Bokso, you had Menak Suku. But those guys were not guys that like to train.
Right. Okay.
They like to train. So they are what we call the senior players.
Yeah.
And they come on only when they match.
Right.
Right? And the younger players like Lake and them, in those days, I was not a member of that squad. I was just a little boy going in the park and watching football.
Okay.
And wanting to play football, so I didn't want to miss a match. So when Lake and them break away from Senior Sports and they form what we said, like I say, it's a local club. And so funny, I learned recently that Dolaf gave him the ball with it, Alfred Philip.
Okay,
Dolaf.
Alfred Philip, yes.
He was giving him ball with it. And later when I get to understand what he meant by ball wizard,
Right.
ball wizard is a magician at the ball. Anyway, that's a competition.
Yes.
Yeah. So those man because they form a local club named Vasco. So they change it into branches.
Yeah,
and how the name branches come around is that whenever they go and play a match in the park, in those days they had a set of glory cedar tree lined up on the riverside. I don't know if you remember that. Set of glory cedar tree. So after every match, and they win, these guys them should break the glory cedar branches and make a kind of a band go by lands. So Carnival didn't start just recently. Carnival didn't go to persist in data football.
But Pecos, let me tell you, even before that, right? The branches thing, one of the reasons why the branches came into being, even prior to that, is a result of that you had the breaking the branches. But even prior to that, that team, the concept for that team started right under that big skin of tree outside by Mr. Boy's house over the drain.
Right.
That is where this thing started, and that is how the branches thing come up. And it is as a consequence of that now you have anytime they play, they break all the branches and so on and so forth. So go ahead.
Right. So the branches, anytime the team play and they win, is a carnival.
Yes.
So the team was so good in playing football, in local football, they decided to take it to a different level. So they joined the FA. And they started they go in second league, and they go in the first league. Because in those days it was only first, second league. I think they had done away with the third league. The third league was just a recreation football. So they had done away with the third league, only first and second. So they end up right. So after they do that now, uprising men like that's where we come in. Like Philaman, and them is to play for National Sports.
Right.
Philaman, them like Kunta and them. So Kunta, Babes, Rastatoni, all those guys came up through that rank with CJ. And I will tell you about CJ, how CJ managed to get in football.
Right, tell us about that.
CJ. But anyway,
CJ Williams, because even for many years after he stopped playing football, there was this ad promoting football that always used to play. CJ Williams, whatever. Yes, tell us about that.
So Operation is a breakaway from Bobby and National Sports.
Right.
So the players from National Sports like Rastatoni, like Michael Henry, like Babes, and Bobby and Kunta and them go on National Sports. So that's what you think. So on the national team now, we were supposed to play a practice. We were supposed to play in Trinidad in a World Cup qualifier. And we wanted to play practice matches because we didn't get international practice matches. So the UTA decided that they come to the team who are only country and play. So we were supposed to play a match in Guav. So when we come to Guav to play, me and Miak and I was on the team. So but we were supposed to be playing for for St. John's, although we
Right.
are a national team, but they want us to play
Right.
against them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So when the guys came, we had about 9 of them, 9 players show up for the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I did and I look, I see CJ. I say, CJ, come get a play. CJ the boots. I say, man, come man, let's make up numbers, man. Papa, what is the no joke?
Mm-hmm.
CJ had a piece of jeans pants on him.
Mm-hmm.
Beer back.
Mm-hmm.
No shoes.
Okay.
And when I Lego CJ in a field,
Right.
you know, there show movies with some old Japanese, old
Yes.
Chinese come and looking scrappy and looking ragsy.
Right.
And I'm a bad.
You remind me, what you bring me back to is looking at this football magazine that you used to have, Raven on the Wing. Yes, that's what you reminded me of, Raven on the Wing.
I tell you,
Raven
when we
playing
Lego CJ in a field,
yes. Mm-hmm.
we just ask, who is that little boy?
Okay.
He can't CJ. He talk to him. I wasn't a part of the conversation.
Right.
The next day, CJ going to town. That man get boots,
Mm-hmm.
socks,
Mm-hmm.
pants,
Mm-hmm.
jersey.
Mm-hmm.
In a couple months after,
Mm-hmm.
CJ become a national player.
Right. Right.
When a man see CJ, that man ask, I mean, we were there. I mean, just as I tell you, Suku and them was the senior, the seasoned player,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, everybody know be good.
Yeah.
I'm good, me are good, Bob good, but nobody know about CJ.
Mm-hmm.
And when the man see CJ,
right,
without even thinking twice about it,
mm-hmm.
and that's what CJ start.
That's what CJ.
From that one moment,
right?
From that one moment. I say, come on, play,
Wow.
man. Yeah, Butch, I say, come on, play, man. Just make up numbers. Come on, make up numbers.
I never got that story before. I never got that story before. That's it.
Listen,
yes.
I tell you, when CJ come on field, and the man Uta a coach from I Trinidad or Suriname somebody. I think that's from Suriname.
Yes, Suriname. I think he was from. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the man I tell you, the man take one look at CJ with bare feet. We have pigeons on him half the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the man see CJ and it is one time same time talk to CJ.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And that is how the football in Guava was, because we had a lot of talent in Guava.
Yes,
but sometimes we don't manage the time properly. And nowadays is a bit different that in our time, because now players don't really go and train anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because in our days that we didn't have much thing to look forward to more than the going back, kick at the ball. And well, on the national team, the national team now, there's a guy called Bob Belfon. He was nearly two strikers on the national team together. But
yeah,
he was
I remember Bob.
He was also a basketballer, because on the basketball team was the national football team.
The national, yeah.
Him and Bob Hope and them both of them was basketballers. So he suggested to me, why you don't play basketball in the off season? Although we should play basketball, but not at a full-time thing, because basketball can go up. I think a guy called Musha Split used to teach in Shaper School. He was either Canada and American Peace School.
Yeah, I forget his correct name now, but he was a teacher, yes.
We used to call him Musha Blake. I don't know if that's the right name or what, but
yes, that wasn't his correct name. We give him that name in Guelph, but that wasn't his correct name. I'm not remembering his correct name right now.
Yeah, so he set up a backboard in Guelph with a big drum. We put a concrete and we put a post and we make a backboard. That's how we started in basketball. So and then the government knocked it down. The government knocked it down because they said that was looking good. So they knocked it down and they put up 2 good basketball boards. So in the off season, I was basketball, and in the football season, I was football. And that is how me and Naka come across in the basketball. So he was Paklas and I was Farai. I think Farai strikers like me.
Right, yes.
Ketu, we have Rasta John, we have Freezer, we have Pella, we have Fata, we had Bob, we had Jimmy. I can have a formality orienting. So that's how I switched from football to basketball. But still having to play a little cricket now and again. And so every final in government, me and Naka. That's why you feel to go on the
yes, for real.
Every basketball final government, but I never.
That's why you don't want to. That's why you don't want to come.
Well, I must admit. I always look. Either we lose by 1 point, and it's so funny. Every time we lose, we always in the front. Coming to the final play of the game, either the final shot is score 2 points, or they always win on the final shot. You know, and so that's how my growing up in Guam is. In the end, So I end up doing that. I switch off and on. My uncle, well, you know, Kibo.
Mm-hmm.
Kibo had a mass maker. He had a
Yes.
steel band,
Mm-hmm.
right? He had a band called Silver Tones. So
Right.
I used to play in that band because I had access to the band. So I started
Right.
playing steel band,
Mm-hmm.
and from the steel band, I moved from Silver Tones. I went and played for a band called Metronomics.
Okay.
As a guy short from
Short came
England.
from England, yes, and
Yeah,
started that steel band, yes.
right. So that's really my thing. But I always like music, and there's a friend of mine who really, really get me in music. But you know
Mm-hmm.
him at the Aboriginal hours, they call him Baga.
Yes, Baga Chak. I wonder if he are listening today, boy. Baga should be
know.
here listening. You know, I go send the link for him.
Baga is want to get me involved in playing guitar. You know, because I used to listen to Baga
Okay.
sing under the mango search in by Bully. And the mango search,
Yes.
and just all he
By
does is
Europe,
all he do is just
yes.
soloing. Just
Mm-hmm.
soloing, just no light, nothing, just soloing. You can't see. I started asking him, how you sing to play a guitar? He said, you have to see it, you have to feel the fingers have to have eyes. You know, so I would want to play guitar. I would want to play, you know, so he tell me, you must want to play guitar. But I
You
said, I
know,
can't play.
because before you go into your story, because I know this is your story, as you mentioned, Baga, that's another element that I just want to touch on. Baga was a rhythm guitar player. Used to
Yeah,
be playing with polyphonics with Doc, as we call him, the Duncan guy. I
yeah.
forget what his
Desmond
first name
Campbell.
was. Huh?
Not Desmond Campbell.
Campbell used to play the keyboard.
Yeah,
His
Desmond Campbell.
Doc younger brother, Luther, used to be playing bass,
Yeah,
right? And the lead guitar was Doc, right? They were Duncans. In fact, I think their mother was a musician.
yeah,
Also, they came from up on top of Central up there. And after the band broke up, I think Doc and them went away, and so Baga decided to make himself a lead guitarist.
yeah,
So yes, these exercises that you say that he used to be doing there, that was when he was making himself into a lead
yeah,
guitarist, because I could remember sitting up with him all kind of hour in the morning. He just wanted the company.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. Soloing.
Maybe I should have become a musician too, but I guess that wasn't for me. You know. And sometimes he would stop and say, Pablo boy, that finger don't want to move, boy, and he's,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
and
still
thing and
long he playing. You get no.
yeah, yeah, so continue the story.
Yeah, so he wanted me to learn to play guitar because remember
Mhm.
he also had the band Journey Control.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Johnny Control was Baga. You have Hussein playing bass. You have Samai playing drum,
Yes.
and you had Gatti. Gatti was the technician. I tell you what thing we can play up. They had a show in GBSS. They said they wanted band to go and play up in to go in Cuba,
Right.
and we were invited to go in that. You were in that show too? In
No,
GBSS.
I wasn't there. No,
Okay.
I didn't go to that. Yes.
Or we take about 2 hours to set up.
Mm-hmm.
When Gatti started to pull out the wire. But yeah, also no guys talk about join up string.
Yes, yes.
Why them tell you join wire? Yeah, so with Johnny Control, I wasn't a guitarist at the time, but I was interested in playing guitar. So I started to he started showing me how to play guitar. He showed me the basic chords, the C G, you know, the C G F, C G F, and you know, I started getting my fingers in. And then Leo is the one that really, because Leo had a box guitar, and Leo to show me guitar. And then I tried to get myself involved in that little group we had, Ghetto Roots.
Yes.
Right? I get involved in Ghetto Roots at the time.
You the man that organized Ghetto Roots.
Right. I was the
Right.
founder Ghetto Roots.
Right.
And with the founder, the composer, and the playing guitar.
Yeah.
And we had men like Kosa, we had men like Specs was there, we had Michael, we had Nayop, we had iRoots, we had Sancho, he's been a motor, we had Elva, Andrea, Claudia.
Right.
You know, and we had a nice getting going, and then we started playing. So I started to sing and get involved in Calypso.
Right.
So we took part in the first Calypso show. We ended up winning that. I think I competed for 5 years. 5 years. Right. I won the first 3 years in a row. I lost to Awful. I came third. Yeah, Awful came first.
Awful came first, right.
I came third. And the following year, we had Soca House. That's when the Soca House 10 came in.
Yes.
Right? And I lost again in 79. 79, yeah?
Not 79.
a full one again a year.
Probably 80.
18, yeah, I think
Yeah, probably 80.
89.
In 89, right. 89,
I think
yeah.
second idea. He beat me
Mm-hmm.
a lot by 1 point.
Okay.
And I think that was the last year we sang Calypsonian Golf as a tent.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
didn't have no
So
show
many-
after that again.
yeah,
Everything
mhm.
fell apart. So I got involved in the Calypso. I started still keep on singing.
Mhm.
And from there, I went off a little while.
Mhm.
And the work in the ministry, like I said, I became a sports officer in the ministry. So I started to get involved, more involved in coaching, more involved in organizing. So what I started doing now is organizing. In 1991, when he was trying to form the National Sports Council,
Mhm.
we had a responsibility of organizing the St. John's Sports Council.
Mhm.
So all the people who used to organize activity, at the time I used to organize football, I used to organize football. So we were called to a meeting, and they formed the National Sports Council with every group that represents sports in St. John's. So we had the net football, we had the cricket, we had the netball, we had the basketball, but the netball yet. And we had we had netball because Sharon and EP should the netball at the time. So all the Fisherman Association has somebody to represent sports in St. John's. Because when you had 29 June was not only a fishing activity or aquatic activity. We still have football games. We still have netball games.
Yeah.
We still have activities leading up to 29 June.
Yes.
So we ended up forming this St. John's Sports Council, where I had two caps. I was the netball, and I was in football. So the netballers was Ansi Langain, Pamela George, Lennis D'Souza, and I. We were the people that were responsible for the netball, and I was also in football with Abel Patrick, and Chassis was a member of it too. So we tried to do that, and
Chassis, that's Charlton Henry.
Charlton Henry,
Yeah?
no, he's the president of GFA of St. John's Football.
St. John's, okay.
Yeah, he's the president now. So that's how I get involved in it. So I started coaching, organizing. So what I did, I organized competition. I organized local competition at the time, and I also referee. I organized netball competition. I am the founder of St. John's Netball Committee. I have a netball club, Fun City Netball Club, a club that I started from the competitions that we organized. After we had tournament, I select the players and started practicing.
Okay.
Which in football, I did the football for many years, and I had a team called Club Spice. Club Spice, we had team like member like Marlon Glynn. He's a member of Club Spice. Yeah, and right about now, he's the CONCACAF, I think, secretariat in Barbados. He had a post in Barbados. We had a member from my team, Jerry Alexis, from my club. He also is now the technical director of Grenada Football Association, also from my club. I just played that we started playing football since at a young age and grew up to went on scholarship, went on opportunities, and only come back. We have lots of players that came through the football I started many years ago. Now they're in America, who were going to college. Well, they got this scholarship through Malang Glen. He provided me the opportunity to go. I gave him the foundation that he will give them the opportunity.
Right.
And most of them, like Chevy Agustin, Chevy Joseph, Kenneth Paul, Chrissy Paul, all them guys and them who live and go and study, they finish school, and now they're working. Kellan Wilson, Kerry Wilson, all those guys and them who came to the academy. But at the time, he didn't name St. John Football Academy. It was just football, because in the early time when I was working in ministry, we have what we call the holiday recreation program.
I remember that, yeah.
Right. We used to have players, we used to prepare players for when school reopened in September. So they will do, we do netball and football, track and field during the holiday season, to the August period. And then when school opened, the kids are really prepared for, because, in the first term is football and netball. So they were ready for that. And so that's what they started doing over the years. Up to date now, I think I'm so. We are brothers in the tent.
You sing with the best calypso tent in the country, Calypsonians, with people like Scholar and Teacher Eddie and Wizard and so yes, we that's where always among the best.
Yes, but the hardest thing to sing in, because he has so much to top me in that. A man told me once, he said, Pecos, but why are you going to extend? I said, partner, living and going to extend doesn't solve the problem. if I could make it in a tent, I could make it in any tent.
Right.
Understand? Because if you make it among the best, because seriously, you know, you're up there. When you run away, you're showing that you're covered. You know, you feel like you can't make it, so you're hiding yourself. So that's what it is. So I sing in Calypso. I have a couple class. I have some ladies that does trying to get them every Monday to Thursday. Get them to, you know, physical activity with them. I still coach netball. I still now I organize the football, the St. John's Football Academy. I rename it now.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll move on to the academy in a little while, because I want to go more in depth in that. The netball component. You say you have a team. How long has that team been going, and what are some of the successes that you would have had in terms of competition and other things?
Right. So after we started organizing the local competition,
who are some of the notable players that, you know, that can be mentioned in that regard?
Right. After we started organizing the local competition, we decided to take it to a different level, because playing in local is just one stage. So what we do, we select the players and we started practicing. So we had players like Natalie Moll, we had Janelle Agustin, we had Jacqueline Ferguson, we have Ina Britton, we have Jimmy John, we have Indra, we have Rhonda Patrick, Tessa Stevens, Tessa and Trisha, they are both sisters, and we started to train.
Okay.
We didn't win the first couple of years, but we started the first year we didn't win a game. The second year we win 2. And we started to win as the year goes on, because we started training harder, and we started training regular, because we realized that in order for us to be on top, we have to start training harder. And what started happening now, because our Southern netball has started changing, we started to attract other players. So it was no longer a St. John's netball team. It becomes like a national netball team. So we had girls from, we had a girl, Rachel John, she came from Pulse. We had Timmy Keto. When Timmy went on, Timmy Keto is one of the national netballers who went and played in Wales. She got opportunity through as sponsor from Pecos Wales, and she was playing for my team when she left Fun City. We had Shakira Colimo, she also from Maki. We had the next one from Paraclete. So we had players from different parts, and they just wanted to play with us because our style netball has taken it to a different level. And every team that we play against getting licks, because they was playing the high ball netball, while we was playing the possession netball, getting the players to move in the space and getting free and marking, blocking and things. So everybody wanted to play for us. So I started coaching the under 23 team. So from Fun City, I was upgraded to the national under 23 and the national senior team. So I coached the senior team. We went to Trinidad in the Caribbean Netball Championship. We went to Quebec and played in a championship in Quebec. I also went to Tobago with the under 23 with the national under 23 team. I also went to Singapore with the I went in the World Championship in Singapore as a coach from Grenada to do a coaching session of it. And so that's how I get myself deeper in netball, which I still am today, right? So that is my journey in netball, which I know everybody sees me as well. One of the coaches that, you know, if they want to play netball, they have to come by me. I don't know why, but so myself and Naka, both of us, he does that same thing. So he will do the physical work. I will do the technical work. You know, sometimes I call him to come and work with my team. I come and give him some physical. He go on physical. So I try to use the people that I know that qualify in their field. Because I don't try to be the one who think I could do everything. I try to get people to come in and help. And I do it for the football as well. In the academy, we have camps. We get a kids to come in camp, 2 weeks camp, 1 week camp. And I get people to come and talk to them on different aspects. I get the push to talk about the law of the country. Get them people talk about food nutrition. And get the people talk about child abuse. You know, different aspect, because like I say, sports to me it's not just a sport, it's a way of life.
It's not just playing on the field.
Yes, it's a way of life. Because I know what sports have done for me. And not because it did for me, I can do it for others, because if people that saw me and stand up for me, that's why today I could do what I'm doing for them. You know?
So you're essentially looking to give back.
Well, that's my reward. That's
Right.
that's my thing. I not doing it for any people feel okay, you're making money. There's no money in sports. Pablo, there's no money in sports in this country.
In Grenada.
Well, as in this
Yeah,
country,
in this part, yeah, yeah.
you do it for the love of the sport,
For the
and it's
love of it, yes.
that joy to see when you okay. Like I spoke all about Marlon Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's a joy to see that he's doing well,
Mm-hmm.
and I could see on this program that he was in my program before he went and studied.
Okay.
You know, I could say Jerry went and studied around the Campbell, and 90% of the players in Shan Sports, 99% of the Shan come to my program.
Okay.
Recently, they win the under 15 competition. All the players on the picture come to the program last year. Was in the program. I didn't work with him. I didn't go with them to play the game because I had work to do with the other little ones. So when I look at them, all the players come from the academy.
Okay. Tell us a little more about the football academy then. How did you get, started with that? How long has the academy, as you said, it didn't start with that name. Take us through that journey.
But I started playing football. You see, I can see it all started at the lake.
Yes, yeah, I know.
The one that is explained to me certain movements and the field, certain things, certain drills, because like I say, we used to practice. And when we doing the drills, I set up a London drill because that is what you need in the game. So in the 80s, I started to organize. The first team I really organized was a team called Yutsai. And the Yutsai team, I can remember some of the names like Jaffo Ferreira, Stevie Duncan, Corey. Adam Corey used to play tennis.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Mendes
Corey
Boris.
was one of the top national table tennis players at that period. Yeah.
So he was a member of that team, right? And Mendes Boris. So that is when I started to coach football. So I started, and where I get deeper involved in it when I started to work in the ministry, because I can tell you every year they still have this holiday recreation program. So together with Chassis had organized Lesson Louison, which is the sponsor of the academy today. He used to get in touch with Louison, and Louison used to help us to get prizes for the kids. We never used to give them no trophy and medal and thing.
Right.
What we used to give them, we should make sure we get notebooks, pen, ruler, whatever school thing that they need for, because like I said, the holiday program used to be in August, September when school open. So we should provide them at the end of the program, give them school books, give them not books, reading books, but actually notebooks, whatever thing, like how much money she has to get, we'll buy the things with it and give it to them. So that is how I really get involved in the football. So from that program, we had men like Randy Campbell, we had men like Nomino, you have men like Crazy, Otis Fraser, you have Eddie Dina, you have Darren Edwards, you have David Thomas. I make a team called Club Spice. That is where Marlon Glenn came in. That's where Jerry came in. All the guys both was a Club Spice. So the name Center Football Academy came later on, and it came later on after some years of doing the same football. When Marlon Glenn came back from he went away and studied, graduated, and he came back. So we had what we call the first Marlon Glenn soccer camp. So the name of the camp was Marlon Glenn and Carlos Lewis Soccer Camp. That was the first original name of the camp. And that happened sometime in the I don't remember exactly what year, but I had to go back and look at the notes. But that's how it started. And then now the next year he changed it to Marlon Glenn Soccer Camp. But I didn't mind because and that time we had been like Joe, I and a few other coaches that we come together, and we wanted to give it a name now, an original name. Although he had it at Marlon Glenn Soccer Camp, I want to give it a name for St. John's. So I was campaigning for St. John's Football Academy. He was campaigning for Goa Football Academy, or Goa Football Club, or whatever you want to call it. So we couldn't settle on a name. So what he did, he took all the good players like Taj, Casey Smith, Kimo, all the players that had in the academy, he took them away, and he formed what we call the Goa FC. That's how he make his football team, Goa FC.
Okay.
So the Goa FC was a team that came from a Marlon Glenn team. The same Goa FC now today becomes Cameron FC. So they moved from Goa, they brought it into to become an FC. So that is way. So I keep on organizing football around that time, taking to a different level, getting men. So all men like Cody, Taj, all those guys and them came, Phil St. Paul, all those guys and them come from the academy. Now they become coaches, now they become players, they become national players. And so I never stopped. They had nowhere else to go. And I enjoyed doing it for many years. It's kind of a hard work. It's really sometimes stressful because when like this morning we couldn't train in the park. The park is in a real bad state now. So much games played at one time in a bad condition. So we had to move to the Anikan pasture.
Right.
I said to the guys, that is when I started playing football.
Right.
I mean, and in those days, it was not what it is now. Yeah. It's so tight, you had this pasture grass, it's so tight together.
Yes.
Tight together. And when you're running for a ball, next you fall down. You understand? That's how it was in our time. But no, the ground is nice, it's well groomed, and it's good condition. So we have a lot of improvement. There are a lot of things to be grateful for. So I hope that we could continue along that trend. But like I said, one guy said to me the other day, he said, Pecos, boy, when you start do that thing, boy, that's it, So, well, somebody must come on board. Somebody must come on board.
At this point in time, Brother John, if you have this lineup for me there, we're going to take, just a short break. We give Pecos a little time to catch your breath because there's so much that's been delivered here so far, We take a short break with a song called Who's Responsible? And we get back to you on the other side, yes?
Let me hear it, man. Let me hear it.
Yeah, man, come with it.
Well done.
Yeah, something.
No way to be blamed for this kind of living. It must be what doing the teaching. It must be what doing the teaching. We is on the sin, we is on the sin. You don't want it pregnancy. You don't want it pregnancy.
Brother John is getting a double kind of song coming at us.
At the age of 13, our children making baby. How could a premature lady could ever make a macho baby? So I'm begging you, Jack, to send down someone to save this third world generation. Otherwise, we go end in frustration. Who is the one responsible for the way how they're living? And we're living in a corrupt system. What's the one you accusing? But what I want them to know, I will not teach them so, for sure. Cause it's what you sow today, that is exactly what you reap tomorrow. I want to know, put it in the children.
Yes, who is responsible? Yes, Brother John, we cut it here and we get back to the conversation with the man who has demonstrated that he is responsible for many of our top players that have come through football in the country, many of the young men now who's older, whether studying, who have completed their studies and gone on to some professional responsibilities, in the same way that Coach Naka, through his Sparklers fraternity, has trained many people who went on to get scholarships. And now we had him on the comfort zone here some time ago. And I asked him to come here, join us. He should have been part of this conversation, but he turned me down. And I know he's listening now. And he had to hear calling the name and I'm doing it deliberately. Talking about who's responsible. There is this book by Coach Naka Joseph, and you come in for special mention in it. And there is a part where he speaks about a player from back in those days. And he says, Peter Ponga is regarded as Grenada's greatest football player. And that is a name that many people not acquainted with, right? And I'll tell you a story that he has shared otherwise. And he says, and arguably one of the best players, and he goes so far to say in the world. And Peter had mesmerizing skills, dribbling the ball on the inside of his left foot, trapping, and any other of his specialties on the chest, tie, instep, and on the run. It made no difference. It was near impossible for the defense to win the ball from Peter because of his extraordinary skill. He used to kick what is now described as the banana shot on set pieces. After Rangers Football Club was disbanded, he was asked by Cuthbert Peters, whom you mentioned earlier, to play for St. John's Port. At that time, he spent his days fishing and his nights working. And he also mentioned that he was a very humble man. Peter taught the skills of the beautiful game of football to anyone who was interested in learning them. Raphael Dure Sylvester, Don Yoe George, Dia Marquez, Carlos Pecos Lewis, to name a few. Tell us about your experience of this man, Peter Ponga, because I know Coach Naka Joseph is doing some more work on him. And I tell you, he shared this story with me because I know Perry in golf, right? We all know Perry, a man drinking and so on and so forth. And Coach say he know the man passing in front he do all the time and so. But one day he came from work, I think, and he saw this funeral, and he saw a lot of dignitary and high-profile people from St. George's were at that funeral. So he had to ask who was being buried. And then he was told that is Perry that was being buried, Peter Ponga. So he said, well, how come these people come to Perry funeral? And that's when he got this story about Perry and his, his excerpts in football. And that is how these people, these high-profile people in St. George's were know about this man. And he was able to get the stories from them, which he has shared in the book. And I think he has some more extensive work coming out on Peter Ponga. But The Energy of Golf, if you haven't gotten your copy yet,
I have a copy now.
Listeners, that's not for you. Remember to get it and the golf people and whoever else, because it's the energy of golf, but it speaks to other people from outside of St. John's, because St. John's used to be a hub for sports, all kind of sporting disciplines, and you used to have people, I remember that Mayday Sports.
Yes.
In golf, used to have cyclists coming from St. George's and coming from Trinidad and so on and so, yes, coming and participate.
Okay.
Tell us about your experience with Peter Ponga and what would you have learned from him?
Yeah, well, like I said, when I get the taste of football and I get the taste of what being a good player feels like, I used to go and train in the park by myself. And one thing that Lake taught me is that all you need to do, the game has two parts to it. The game has the individual skill and the team have what they call the team skill.
Right.
The team skill is where you link up with other players. But the individual skill is what you want to do as a player. Learn your passing, learn your dribbling skill, learn those things like that individual. You need to do that. One of my strengths in football was kicking. Right? I scored many goals in the local football competition. If I'm football is it. And it's because of I just had to run through the space and getting the ball right at my feet, hitting the ball in the goal. That's my job. Run up the ball, run left, run right, and getting the kicking ball. So, but I wanted to be better than that. So I went in the park and started to pick corner kick. One day I was in the park. Like I said, those days the field was not south.
Not south, yes.
Right, and I was kicking on the top side. That is closer to the pavilion side. So I was kicking the ball with my right foot to swing it back to the goal. But I just kicking it, and Lakers tell me he's going to be here, me are going to be here, so I must kick the ball to a point that way he could run onto it. That was the message that they give to me. So I know what to go, vision it in my head, where I want to kick the ball, where they're going to be, and how we're going to be. And for many times I kick and I see this. I never see Perry play. Never see him play.
Right.
And in those days, you had the bottom, or the bottom gate is still there. Bottom gate is still
Yes.
there.
Yes.
So he used to pass in the bottom gate, and I used to see this guy passing on the field with his 2 hands behind his back, bare feet,
Always.
and he was
Always
standing
that
up
hand
on him.
behind your back. Yes.
And when he reached
And
part of the
whistling. He
field,
used to like to whistle.
right? And some party go stand up and he go look at the field. You know, a man that talking to himself,
Right.
stand up and he talking, and but I do bother him because I
Yeah.
still had the kind of a tendency of being arrogant because
Yeah.
I also feel personally I also feel that man can teach me nothing. I learn it from the
Yeah.
best.
Right.
So on that specific day, he stand up and he looking at me. I take the shot, I run for the ball, come back, spot it, hit again, run for the ball. Me alone in the park.
Is you alone, yeah.
And yeah, and he asked me if I know about banana. I look at him, I look at him, when you
Yeah.
for the shot.
What do you know about that?
There's the old man can't stop look at me and it's my banana, what banana, no banana. The man doesn't show any foot, and
Right.
yeah, he step pants and he got pants wet, he just much in the sea.
Right.
But he did, observing me and he's talking. So, sometimes curiosity just get it better for you, and curiosity is not a bad thing all the time, eh? It's a good thing. So I said, well, okay, she might do the banana. And Pablo, that man take 2 steps. 2 steps. 1 bang. And that is the sweetest kick I ever see. The ball in school.
Yes.
But the technique,
Yes.
Pablo, the technique the man put in a ball, I tell you, up to today, I could still see it in my head.
You could picture it, yes.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And when I see that, I want him to kick more. But it tell me, you're on the practice. He never take one again. He say, you're on the practice. Pablo, and I kick on a left, right. I kick it so, I went on next side, I kick my left foot. I come out so, I kick my right foot. And I start kicking on a left and right, all day. I kick on a 6, 12, 50 corner, 25 corner, 30 corner, every day I can kick it again. Until I end up mastering the corner kick.
And you've scored with it.
Mastering the corner kick, I tell you.
Yes, sir.
Anytime I get a corner kick, people say in Pecos, score that.
Yes, that's the man.
I do it for
yeah, I remember
fun.
that.
I tell you, for fun. I mean, sometimes I might get one wrong. You might go over the bars, you might go side. But when I get it, Pablo, I tell you, I never regret I get a man about the kick.
Okay.
And that's the only time I really ever get in contact, get close to him to talk or anything. I never see him again.
Okay.
Never see him again. Because I was so involved in football.
So he just took that one shot to demonstrate to you how it's done.
Yes. I must say the ball in school.
Right.
What impressive me the most, besides the kicking the ball, is the technique for the monkey ball. Effortless. I tell all them, but when you have this old kung fu man that have so much that technique in him and he could just tell you what I tell Joshua say man. Joshua say man. But if I tell Naka didn't believe me. Well, Naka say it tells what the men that Pecos to keep banana. Watch. If you don't believe, ask anybody in Grenada for the past 10, 15 years, who the man say kick the best can kick immediately you.
Yeah,
anybody
I remember those days. I mean, yes, I remember those days. Right. I remember those days.
And I learned from Peter Ponda. And like I say, I never see him play. I mean, I used to see play with Dan Marquez. Well, that time Dan Marquez was in the pinker form. Dula, Double Clean, those men and them. Those men were real skillful players. Right? But I never see Peter Ponda play. And even like I say, when I watched Dan Marquez, and they saying Dan Marquez was good. And Dan Marquez win Mr. Winwood Island.
Yes,
you're the best player in Winwood Island.
Yeah, that time they had the Pop-Em Cup competition. Yeah,
right, with the 4 islands. And that's what it was. So and if you see Marquez, and no Marquez was good. And if you see Peter Marquez was nowhere close to Peter Ponda. I spoke to Dewey again, and Dewey tell me Peter Ponda was excellent. It's super. And this man play with him. And that's how I managed to really get myself involved in those things. But nowadays, nobody wants to do that anymore. Everybody wants to go sweat. Nobody wants to go and do the individual work.
Right.
And in all the time to manage to run. Every evening you see men running. Men run in the morning, I run in the morning, I run in the evening. Because they want to be fit. Okay. They have no idea to fit.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I would like you to extend a little more on. what is, the difference in that whole culture as what existed then to what exists now in terms of preparation for the game? Because I usually say to some of the younger people who follow football that, I have seen the quality of football that I saw when I was growing up. The quality of football that is played now comes nowhere close to what used to be played back then, and some of them have been kind of resistant to that kind of thinking, because they feel, well, they're looking at international football and so on. But as you say, you all were not able to see the games, but you were able to listen it on BBC. I used to be listening to, and you were able to visualize. How have things changed in terms of that culture, that preparation for the game, and the mindset that went into it?
It's two ways to look at this. If you look at it in the player's consciousness, in self-development, and you look at the player's consciousness in recreation football.
Okay.
Right in Grenada, there's two types of football, two types of footballers. Those who play recreation football. And if you look at the Wagati football, it's what we call recreation football.
Okay.
Then you don't have to train for that. You go on your field and play, you may see a two things on the TV, you go on to do a magic and you could laugh and you could make a noise, and you even though you lose the ball in the process, that is okay. In our discipline, when we lose the ball, it's an insult to us.
Yes. Okay.
When I kick a ball over the bars, Pablo, I vex.
Yes. Yes.
When I give a man a bad pass, it's an insult to my profession. It's an insult to my standard. Because if you are a good player, you have to get this thing right. And in those days, the difference in those days is that you give us 60 minutes, 1 hour.
Right.
Move on now to 90 minutes. So if you can run for 60 minutes, how will you run for 90 minutes? Understand? So preparation, training is important. And we should run more. And I mean, come on. Men used to train in secret. Men didn't want men to know the training. So men train in the moonlight. You understand? And if a man know where a mango tree, listen, if a man know, and a man know where a mango behind, he don't tell you. You see, he go back on the back, and he going to run and get him and come back. That's how we should train. You understand? And that is the difference. Like I said before, we never used to see football. It's not until I reached a national team I started seeing football.
Right.
But in our days, we never used to see, we used to hear football. Nowadays, people watching football. So when they go on the field, that's what they're doing. They're watching the game. Because if you prepare to play, you wouldn't watch the game on the field. Because watching the game on the field for spectators. When you're on the field and play, it's just like you're a musician and you're in a band and you're playing and you don't know the song. And you're playing a pan, but you only move your hand and the pan as if you're playing and you're dancing and you know nothing. That's what some of them doing. Right? So it becomes two parts, recreation football and those that are serious. If you look at the clubs that always win football, the Paradise and the Hurricane. Why? Because those men see the game at a different level. They make the players are conscious of what the benefit they're getting from the game. So they always want it. Why some of them teams that they go and play for recreation when they finish play, you see them by the home shop, sit down. I mean, I have no problem in a man going and drink 2 beers. And
that's their choice.
You understand? So it becomes recreation football. So that is the difference in our time. Because I know what I'm again, when you're going to play a match in the park, even now, if you're going to play a match in the park, you're seeing there's a handful of people. Right? In our days, when you're going to play a match and you're losing golf, you can't walk the street. Because people in golf seeing you play. They see how you lose the match. Why you should be yesterday, you lose the match, you good pass. They give you talk. You understand? Because especially if Bobby's they lose a match in golf and Sancho's and them can't Jamaica Carnival, it's an insult. You understand? So we were committed to the parish. We had prestige. We should play not only for ourselves, but for the community. You understand? So that is the difference in the football today. Men see it as they lose the game, it's no big deal. When we lose Pablo, what's a big deal? And especially if we lose in Guav, a man can beat you in Guav, like the homegrown, that's an insult. You understand? And that's the difference with us. That's the difference then and that's the difference now. And no, men don't want. I mean, in those days they had thugs. And the brogues that we had, and the brogues and the ball were different. They had the ball with the long hose. You had to tread it.
Right. Yes.
When the ball wet, it slip in your hand.
Yes, and the ball was heavy.
So you have to have muscle to kick the ball. You can't kick the ball. You must have strong to kick the ball. You understand? Nowadays, them ball them going for yourself. Automatic. Have to touch the gun. And the ball swing up in a corner. You understand? So that's how they play football nowadays. And they want brand new uniform. We should make the pants to go play football. We should make your pants because you don't want to buy the brand name. And those days, I mean, uniform was not always now. It was light. I pay for saying I'm supposed to wear a jersey, and when you wrong weight, I can bring it. Pussy heavy. You understand? But that is how it was in our time. We didn't look at the uniform. We look at our performance.
Right.
Nowadays the man even goes so further than performance than the uniform. They want number. If they don't number 7 or number 10,
they don't
see the part of the team. You understand? Because number 10 is Messi. Number 7 is Ronaldo. So they want number 10, and the figure them is Messi.
Okay.
And they want number 7 Ronaldo. You understand? That's what the game has become now.
Right.
But the preparation part, watch. I'm not trying to get anybody sticks, but
it's not about bashing people. It's just stating facts.
You go to the park and train. When we used to go in the park and sweat, right? You go in the park. I live when we used to full. I went on the park. I used to start to run by Maya. Now we went to the park. In the park and see nobody. First, we're looking for you to go and go Mongambi.
Right.
Right. And you come back down. When you reach back, you sweat. You sweat start to join the sweat. You sweat. You don't know coaching at that time. You just sweat. Those man, they will do the same thing today. They will take a ride to go by the park. And when they reach and they see nobody, they will sit down. Wait until 5:30, maybe 6. One sweat.
Because we have lights now that we can use. Yes, we didn't have lights in those days.
But if we had light in those days, we have be better players. Because we are trained day and night.
Right.
You understand? We are trained day and night. No, they are light. Listen, when you day and light, the man took man training the park past 4. In those days, marshals are past 4.
Right.
They come in, training, they say, okay, men come and work, we can come for past 4, we training 5 o'clock. After 6 men come in.
Right.
Now they are light. They say, okay, look, fellas, if you can come past 6 to training light, you go training 7 o'clock. Men say, come in late. You understand? You have light now, training 7 o'clock. Men can come for past 4. It's 5 past 4 too early for them. So you bring it to 5 o'clock. They come in after 6. So they bring it, they are light now, and they still come in late. You understand? So it don't matter what. So we need to go back in the days when we had to run and hang out and boss. You know, he did a lot and comfort them. But when you had to hang out and say, let post knock you down.
Yes, I remember those days. Yes.
Things that we know. And so that is the way the sports is in this country. And added to that, you have some sports that are getting all the preference. Like track and field is the one that getting all the thing. Because I remember when Kiwani win the Olympic gold, the Boston State, they go build a mini stadium in Goa. That was when I said 2012.
Right.
It is now. Nothing happened. You understand?
Okay.
That's what we did. So sometimes we blame the players and say, look, what the situation is. But if you want success starts not from the people on top. It starts from you as an individual.
You have to go the extra mile yourself.
Yeah, you have to. And watch. And I say this to say again. I remember all the time I don't appear. That name again that most people don't talk about. Don't appear started to run, not because he wanted to run. Again, Coty forced Don't appear to run.
Okay. You know, before you go on, recently there was a program with Michael Bascom where he had Goatee Robinson was the guest on that show, and Goatee mentioned Donald Pierre as one of the best athletes that he has ever known, because during that time, he said, during that period, you could have put him to run in any of the distances, and he would, although essentially he was a marathon runner, but you could have put him to run in any of the distances and he would come out tops, because I remember he beating one of the top athletes in Trinidad in I think it was the 400 meters, one of the top world athletes at the time, whether that person was the Olympic gold medalist.
After he beat Trinidad, he went and win the Olympic gold.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But my point is starting with Coty. Because what Coty used to tell him to do, Coty used to come from town with the big boss. So he used to tell him, run down and meet him.
Right.
So let's say, well, in those days, you could take time from the bosses. You know what time is 11 o'clock, what time is 12 o'clock, Western Hope, and then the bosses used to pass on time. So Coty used to tell the run down and meet him. And anyway, you meet him, you go pick him up.
Right.
And that's when the started running. Right?
Okay.
So he started running, and you was right. Don't have Limerick and a guy called Edgar. I don't know if you know Edgar.
Yes, I remember Edgar. Yes, yeah. Uh-huh.
Right, and Dixon. Well, Dixon passed away now.
Right.
Saddam Dixon. Those are Red Voss. All those guys were long distance runners. They used to run together.
Yeah, they
but
were.
Donald Pierre was the man that had the talent. Donald Pierre that had, even Johnson Campbell. Those men had the speed. But when Donald Pierre started running, was the marathon used to run. And then he graduated from the road to the track. And that's where he really started to show on the track. You understand? So come back again to the energy I go. That's where the energy come from. We have a lot of energy up here. But again, in those days, you had people. I was saying a guy last time, I said, look, we cannot blame the people down here for how they become. Because all the talented people, all the people who have all the technique, all the people who had the know-how went away. All the people that have the experience just live and go to greener pastures. And you leave the people who have a very limited education, very limited knowledge to take on the mantle. So what you see now, you can't blame them for you just have to give them the credit. But continue, because look, Lake gone away, Mia gone away, Azari gone away, Samuel gone away, all those men and them who were good footballers, they gone away. You understand? And who they leave behind? You understand? A few of us are behind. I mean, I'm the only one at the behind that Dennis sport.
That actually stayed, yes.
You understand? All the more men, leave the sport. So it makes it difficult for me now to really keep up all this hard work. But that's where we are. But you must give the people credit for what they're doing, and all what you're doing is to find ways of encouraging them, find ways of helping them, because it takes more than one Pecos, it takes more than one shoe, it takes more than one Pablo. You know, it takes more than one of us to do this thing. We have to get everybody involved. You know, it's a long road, it's a hard road. But
speaking of it takes more than one Pecos and whatever, who else is involved in coaching at these levels, at the local level in Guelph, in St. John's in particular? Do you have any other people that's involved?
Yeah, we have Gang, Ibot.
Okay, he still does some work here.
Yes, Gang is still doing some work in the football.
He used to be one of our top defensive players during that period of uprising Roots and Ball Wizards and so.
Yeah, he also prefer. I think he make national youth team too, and he also used to prefer Harry Walker.
Yes.
Harry Walker International. He used to prefer Harry Walker. So he had a good.
He was also a top table tennis player. Playing national level too. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So he is around, but I haven't seen anybody else besides him. We have there's a guy who works with Shannon Sports he works with Shannon Sports team. He's at the PE teacher in Irish school, Antoine. He has said, but he don't really coach. He just maybe go with the team when the team out and play. And that's about it. So we have Grand Roy. This team and them doesn't practice. All they do is show up on your match.
Okay.
And again, go back to the same recreation football, because them doesn't really practice. When you go and see just sweat, you go on 5 minutes, 6 minutes sweating a little field, and when they get the ball, because I say bad word, they jump on their back and they act in a funny way. They get a pass, they want to run, and this is the kind of preparation that they do for competition. But the team that is when you look at Paradise, you got Hurricane, even them teams in town, like you have Nixon, they Common FC, you have Queens Park Rangers, have. So them cover them half people. Even Shannon Sports, right about no other coach. They have Ali the Bellot. That come and
Ali the Bellot comes, okay.
Yeah, and he lives in town. You understand? Yeah. So what happened on the days when Ali can come? So you won't see the players, and you won't see the players like what days going on. You know, you won't see them doing that. You see them come in the park and sit down and wait until after 6. About 15 men on the side playing football. That's what he does. You know, so them again fall back in the recreation football, because they're not doing it for any purpose more to go and bathe in the night. You can sit to go and bathe. That's how it starts.
That being the case, is there any prospect of us really getting to that point outside of the academy? Because you work with trainees from what age group? What's the age range in those players involved with the academy?
We have we take them at 4+, 4, 5, 4.5, 5 years.
Okay.
4.5 to 5 years. Well, to reach up to at first we had to about 19 years. But what happened now? Then guys didn't get. What we realized that once they go and play for Shannon Sports, they don't come back.
Okay.
right? So because St. Sports is the one who attached to GFA. So they have under 15 competition, they have under 17 competition, they have under 19.
Okay.
So we are the ones, the academy is the one that provide the players for St. Sports. So once the players get selection for St. Sports under 15, they tell themselves, okay, we play in a higher level, so we need to come back and play down here. Right? And I keep saying to Campbell, I say, you need to get players to come back in the football. Because you cannot only go and play when there's a competition. You must prepare to play in the competition. That's what the game is about. You understand? So
which Campbell are you referring to? Randy. What is his role with St. John Sports?
Well, he's the manager. He's the manager of the team. The chassis, the president, he's the manager. Or the treasurer, whatever. Exactly portfolio, but he's the one that manages the team whenever they go and play.
Right.
You understand? So that's where we are. But I'm saying this to say that if the people who are directly involved in football cannot see the big picture, it makes it difficult for the players to even see it, because the players want to play. And if you have people training, if you have people to, they contacted me to come and board them. And at the time I couldn't really accept the offer because I was so involved in all the activities, and I taking a walk at the time. It would have been a problem for me. I couldn't give them the benefit that they would that they would want.
Yeah, what was
and like I said, I was playing the band. I played rhythm harmonies, and I had to keep the class. We used to train from 7 to 8.
Right.
And we had netball. So it was, for me, it was a kind of stress. And I couldn't afford to make a sacrifice to leave up those things to go and play coach football.
Okay.
But since after the COVID came in, we changed the time. The time for the keep the class now is from 5:30 to 6:30. So it's a bit earlier now. Right? I still do the netball. I go in the park and I do netball with them. So we have that, but it's much earlier. And now that they have the lights, they train from 7. Right? So I maybe in the future things could be different. You know, the second my assistant, because they are still needed. Too many players don't want to go and train. Because they find that there's a problem with what's happening. They don't like what's happening. You know, and sometimes no matter what you do with people, they always find fault with you. You try to give them good things, they find fault. You try to give them bad things, they find fault. No matter what you do. You know, so I don't know. I still have to see weigh my options and see what are the best solution and see what I could do, because I like to help. You know, I like to help, but things have to change. You can't go along the same road with players lazy and don't want to practice and don't want to. They can't walk that way. You know?
Okay. So given that situation, is there any prospect, therefore, and what you've mentioned, what do you see can be done in terms of that relationship, that networking between yourself and the managers of the only football club of note in St. John's, the St. John's Sports Club, which started back then sometime in the 1950s, you know, and we've seen Ball Wizards have come, they no longer is. Uprising Roots has come, they no longer is. St. John's Sports is still there. What do you see as the future in terms of building and, you know, in terms of ensuring that we able to maintain that level and that kind of quality and that kind of standard, you know?
But the future is better for football in St. John's.
It is.
I'm not saying that to blow my trumpet.
You're coming from the academy.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I serious. They have a good on the 19 team, right? And they have a good on the 15 team, right? I know that. And they have some good under 15 players. Well, the players who are under 15 now moving up the ladder to under 17. And we have some good under 15 players coming up, right? So the future in that context is good. The other hand, what we have to look at now is how are we going to enhance that talent and skill? Are we going to continue allowing them to just see the game as recreation, just to come and play when it's a competition? Are we going to change it and have session for them? Because what makes Paradise Club do better than us? What makes Paradise different? They have people who's committed to the sport. And you know, funny, one of the main man in Paradise is Scandal. You know Scandal?
Right, yeah.
You know Scandal?
Yes, I know Scandal.
You know Scandal, the man from Goa, right?
Dr. Rat?
Dr. Rat, you know him from Goa, right? So he goes to Grenville and he brings his skill, because he was the founder of Ball Wizards.
Yes,
all
yes,
the members of
branches,
the team,
yes.
right? And now he's in Grenville and doing something in Grenville. So if he could do it from taking what we have and going Grenville with it and have people working with him, what can we do to go up? But the difference is the men in government is very lazy. Nobody wants to take responsibility. Nobody wants to be criticized. And that's one of our biggest problems. We always like to criticize people. But they feel that if you are the one in charge and then being criticized by others, then you feel that insult. So nobody wants that to happen. So if Senior Sports could just organize itself in that kind of context, organize itself where you have the under 19 teams training, you have the under 18 teams training, you have get the girls come on board because we have girls, we have 5 girls on national team, 5 girls. They come to the academy.
Okay.
5 girls national team. 2 of them get scholarship to go and study next year. They come from the academy. Nobody talking about that. You understand? So we have the potential to do better, but we need people on the top to guide us. Because I alone, Pablo, they want me to come. But when I go, what happened in the bottom? Because the bottom is very important.
Yeah, that is where you that's where you get your seedlings from. Yes.
So that is where we are. So if they could get themselves better organized, and okay, they had Jerry Alexis, who was the coach of them. Again, Jerry was a member of Coach Spice. He was the coach for many years. No, he's the technical director at GFA.
Okay.
So he can no longer be a part of Senior Sports in that sense because of conflict of interest. You understand? So now that he left, nobody there to fill his space. You understand? And so that is where we are. So then the tail always wagging the dog.
Okay.
But the players calling the shot because when Senior Sports they organize online netting competition, so they have to play. So when you want to play, you want players to go and play. Also go, they go and get players to go and play. So you don't have to prepare to go and play because you want to play and you want to give a show in that Senior Sports about under 19 team. You just tell them, man, we have match tomorrow, let's go and play. And that's what we've been going for years. So if you could fix that, if you could have the men come and train in the park, have them practicing, even though it's 2-3 days a week, have them practicing, the standard will improve. And we can have a good team in St. John.
You know, as you mentioned that, something come back to mind. The whole philosophy of trainers are players. And I remember one time when Dolaf, as we call him, Philip, he was the trainer of the St. John sports team or whichever one it was. And Bull Gishing was the goalkeeper. And he said trainers are players, and Bull feel, well, he is the baddest thing. He can't, nobody can take his place. And he put him on the side. And I don't remember who it was that he put in his place to kick goal, and Bull had to really step up in order to get back on the team. Can you speak to that? What's the prospect of us getting back to that? What do we need to do? And what role could you mentioned earlier on the sports council. What role can the sports council play in terms of developing that kind of administrative, aspect of things that can get us back to that?
Well, first of all, the sports council no longer exists.
Okay.
The sports council was set up many years ago as a government entity, as a branch of the Ministry of Sports. That's why the sports council was set up. So in every parish you have a sports council, and the sports council is answerable to the Ministry of Sports.
Right.
Right. That was set up many years ago, and then it was demolished, and then it was recreated again, I think, through the NEC time. Right. And that was supposed to set up. We had the constitution. We do everything that had been required to us, but we never get no assistance from the government. They were supposed to give you a certain amount of money so that you could run. The sports council was supposed to be responsible for organizing competition, right? Like with cricket, with football, whatever sports activity
all of the different disciplines.
Controlled by the sports council. They will also take care of the ground condition because in St. John's, the sports council was the one that are responsible for putting up the wall.
Yeah,
St. John's,
the
around the park. We did that. While the other parishes never had sports council, and they get everything done for them through the political system. So when the NEC government lost the seat, lost the election, and the other party came in office, they say that is not the project. They are not the one that is responsible for that. So they squash it.
Okay.
So as far as the sports council is concerned, that it no longer exists.
That is no
But
longer
it's a few of us that is there. Well, I
Mhm.
spoke to Naka just recently, and
Mhm.
we hopefully maybe for the new year we try
Mhm.
to get some people organized
Mhm.
and see if we could still keep
Mhm.
maintain the sports council, sports council,
Mhm.
because we
Mhm.
have a need for that,
Yeah,
right? We
because
have a need for that.
administration
It's
and management is always critical in everything, and without that, you're not going to get the kind of discipline that you spoke to. You're not going to get the kind of controls and the kind of systems, because that is critical, going forward. Uh, um, that with that being the case, you did mention earlier on the whole issue of athletics and so on. That's being the focus of everything. What's the state of athletics in golf? Can you touch on that one just briefly?
well, athletics in golf has taken a nosedive. I remember in the early time when the sports council, we saw what they call the Donampia games, because we tried to keep Donampia alive.
Right.
Just as I tried to keep Bobby Z alive when Bobby Z for the football. I organized a competition and they made Bobby Z and Bobby Z football competition just to keep
Right.
the Bobby Z alive.
Right.
So
Right.
we had what we call the Donampia games,
Yeah, I
right?
remember
And that was
that.
a big
Yeah.
games. And that games was basically a community-based game, right? So you have all them villages in St. John's will make a team and come and compete. And that was a success. It was a success. But winning becomes one of the dominant thing in this event. So there's a team called, and I know you got a name for you that you must remember, Pool Boys.
Yes, I remember Pool Boys.
Pool Boys had a football team,
Right.
and Pool Boys decided to take part in the Donampia games. So what Pool Boys and them started doing, because the majority of people who work in the pool from different villages, they start to target the people and them. Your child
Right.
has to pay for Pool Boys. Your child has to pay for Pool Boys. So when it comes for Donampia games, if you had, because all the teams that you have Harlem, most Harlem people working in the pool.
Yeah.
So
Right.
everybody started to go for Pool Boys. At the time you have Fimba Oliver, the one that run pool all the time. Ratty and them run Pool Boys. So they have the majority of people working with them. So they take all the athletes. So whenever a sports in the park, Pool Boys have all the athletes. So that can have a kill track and field. But gradually it started coming back when Albert was in the Irish school. Every year they have this primary school inter-house championship. So the school in St. John's will have the inter-house thing, and then they pick a school team to compete for honors in the parish. And that created a kind of a rivalry within the schools again, because people like track and field.
Yes.
So and then Speed Zone came along. Speed Zone came along with Timothy, Albert, Jimmy, all those guys came along. But even in the success of Speed Zone, there was a problem. So Timothy decided that he don't want to be a part of Speed Zone. He make it in Western Jets. So he have Western Jets. So now we have Speed Zone, we have Western Jets.
Western Jets, yeah.
But Timothy gone. Western Jets no more exist. Albert for a little while, the boy get winning Olympic gold, everybody get crazy about things. Albert gone live in town. So the player that Albert have in golf, they're going to and train. So to come and go up for, he find come and go for him now is a problem, because he's distance up and down and don't say anything. So you have a team in town.
Right.
Gradually, Bashi now, that's Kirani brother. He's the one that is trying now to get his school team more to players to come in the park. So when you look at track and field in the park now, there's about 4 players you see, 4 people see running. Natalia Vincent, you will see her doing throws. She that throw coach.
Yeah, she did javelin, was it?
Javelin.
She would have won
OECS.
at the OECS levels,
Yes.
and so
Yes, javelin, OECS
okay.
javelin. But not only that, she's the one that get 3 awards, national awards in sports. She was also a national footballer. She played for Grenada football. She's also a national athlete in basketball. She played 3 sports. So she's multi-talented. But she does right about now. She does only track. So you might feel. So you might start doing with javelin. So what she do? So she might have about 2 or 3 athletes with her doing javelin. But that's as far as it goes. That's as far as it goes.
Okay, okay.
You know, so the track and field in Guava State and take a big note there. I don't think it's because they didn't build the mini stadium for us. I think it's because the people that are supposed to be there to help the sport to go forward are disappeared. Timothy has gone to American Republic. That's where he live now. And he was one of the people that I think had a good thing going. We had a next guy, Brandon. I think Brandon has some like running into some like difficulties, and that was a problem for him. And Albert gone, so that's where we are. So
Yes,
track and
because
field has gone.
yeah, because Speed Zone, you know, was doing a good thing, and they used to have some significant events and so taking place. We know that people like Rissy Sam and so was involved in the organizing and management of operation, and Speed Zone was really looking up. I remember, you know, whenever you pass through in the Boyks Lane area on an evening time, you would see them, you know, in that area there. That's where the gym was, and they would be, yes, you know, doing the preparations and stuff like that. You know, and it would really be a good thing if you and Coach Naka and whoever else can begin in the new year to rebuild that management structure, you know, that is going to get us back to that stage where we have a functioning sports council or whatever you want to call it, that is going to look at the different disciplines and so, because the energy of Guavi, you know, is very much alive. It cannot die. As well, in this community here where I am now, you know, in St. Mark's, you know, they usually put that label on St. Mark's or Victoria as the poorest parish and so on. And I usually say to them, I don't subscribe to that. Even just earlier this morning, I was in a conversation with a couple of people, and I was saying that to them, I don't see St. Mark's as the poorest parish. I see them as probably the most economically depressed, you know, but they're not the poorest, because there is that wealth of personal potential. There is that wealth of heritage sites and history and all that kind of thing. So there's a lot of wealth. It's just that we're not tapping into those resources.
Exactly.
And we need to put the systems and structures in place in those communities so that we can begin to build, because that is what makes for a greater nation. And if we're talking about nation building, then that's the approach that is needed. You know, what else can you tell us? Are you still with Harmonies?
Well, not Harmonies. Harmonies is not existing anymore, because I know Vento died. We have Eddie gone to church, but we have what we call Rhythm Harmony. It's an offspring. That's the band we play in Victoria with, like me, Stricker.
Yes, I remember you all coming to Food Fest. On a few occasions to play.
So that's the band. But since after the COVID strike, we never really get together and do anything, because but we're hoping that if things turn up a little different, we have a jam side. We're trying to get Harmonies back again. I think for the Christmas, we want to go and do a thing up in the plan is already on the way. Just a matter of confirming it. Play up in Hillsview. So we go get the instrument
to play at the home, at the Hillsview home.
Yes, Hillsview home. And Christmas, we're looking at date maybe 28th of December, the Sunday. Go up and put on the instrument and play some songs for them. That's the plan that we have on the table right now. But but I don't think Harmonies will be coming back as a party band. But I will still continue. If the Rhythm Harmonies continue, I will still hang to them, because I like the music. I like listening to them. But just come back, and I think I mentioned earlier about
the sports.
Community. One thing I noticed is people, they're very mistrustful, and I think that is one of the biggest problems that we have. You know, they say money is equal to evil, and I think that's a true saying, but it's only for those people who have evil in them. You know, and because if you might have a project starting as to do something, and all the time you're struggling and you don't have no funds, you don't have no money. When I look at Grenada football in the early years, when you didn't have money in the sport, I managed to work voluntarily. I remember that as in my early time, we can referee, be Chunky, busy, and Kokoti. We had to buy our own uniform to go referee.
Right.
No, but nowadays, referee provided with referee kit. Right? And now men don't want to referee because they get money to referee. We used to be anxious to referee and we get the money. And I think everybody know always wants something back in return for what they do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't understand no the
Yes,
economic
people should be
system is hard.
compensated for the
Yeah,
effort. I
you're right.
understand what you're
But
saying. Yeah.
but it should. But money should not be the first
That
and
shouldn't be the
foremost thing.
first thing. Yeah.
You know, if you want, because I tell me, I say, look, if you want to get paid, you have to be a good worker because nobody want to hire if you can work.
Right.
And if you can work and if man is still working, they go fire you. So for you to get the money, you have to be able to be a good worker. And if you want to get work, you have to be good at what you do. You can't be coming and making all the time and mistake and see one money. And this is where we are, you know. And as we start to do something and we start to make a little headway, if the same people that fight you down, they figure out, okay, they're making this one, or you want this, you want that, and that's a problem. So if we start to trust people and trust what we do, understand why we're doing it, and see where we want to get it to reach. It's not about us sometimes, you know. It's the people that you're serving. We are just servants to the people.
Right.
Understand? Just as how George see me on the street and he tell me, I say, make a team and I play for it.
Right.
I say, make a team and I'll play for you.
Yes.
You understand? And he didn't make it to me. He didn't make it for me, but he make it team and I play for him.
Right.
No, I do the same thing for people. I make it team and let it come play. So the cycle continue going, and George didn't do it for any reward, and I do it for any reward. So we have to look at it not only for what we get from it, but what contribution that you can make to it. And if you could think along the line, Pablo, everything will be fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm really hoping that what you mentioned here about the prospect of you and Coach Naka and so, and I know that the two of you are very committed people who work diligently and so in the various disciplines, and I expect that with your involvement, something functional and something worthwhile could come out of it. And I'm hoping that we can really see something starting to take shape again in terms of administration of sports, and to get us to that level where we can begin to see young people coming out, you know, to Cuthbert Peters Park to train and to prepare and to be able to benefit from the opportunities that's out there. Because based on what you mentioned earlier on as to the quality of the players back then, you know, the people like the CJ Williams, he just came on the field like Raven, and he was just immediately picked for the national team. I dare to say that if we had this quality of players presently in this day and age, some of them would have been scouted for some of the international football teams out there. What's your take on that?
No, Pablo, you couldn't say better than that. Couldn't say better than that, because we had what they call raw talent. But I attend coaching and thing. I attend coaching and thing. When a coach come there, whenever a coach come to Grenada to help us develop our skills as coaches and players, what is seen from the coaches down here, it marvel. As you see, we are talented players. And when you look at our scenery, look at our country, so we are natural resources here. We have everything here we need to be good players.
Okay.
But the only problem we have in attitude. Our problem is not where we can play. Our problem is discipline. Let me get a story. I went in a course once, and the coach said graduation time for 7 o'clock. I said, Coach, 7 o'clock. I said, Coach, I live in Guabino. He said, how far is Guabino? I said, 12 miles. Coach said, 12 miles in Guabino, and she not far. You understand?
Okay.
I went to Germany. Right? I went on the course in Germany. I went on a month in Germany, football. I wake up one morning. Before I reached a delay because I can't help back in England. And I was supposed to reach on the 4th in Germany. I reached on the 5th day after. And when I got there, and I tell the coach see me, look at me. I say, well, I explained to him what happened. He said, okay, I understand. So when I did on a plane, and I check the ground, Pablo, I get good. Because skating on the ground, you go far ground, you get no bruise, you know. The ground helping you skate. Forcing nice, you know. Right. And then the man look at me. He said, you sure gonna make it? I said, Coach, just give me a chance. You understand? And my level moved Pablo up here. And I just showing you to see that I only there for a month. And the level that the man see from me, asking me, if I, how long I've been paying for Grenada? I said for years. He said, yeah, he said, joke making. You understand? And I did me 50s.
Right.
You understand? Because my level of control, my weapon, I mean, I don't say that I used to train, I used to play.
Right.
You understand? But when he come on here and they sing players, he's saying that we have the natural talent. We have it on here, Pablo. We have everything on here, but what other problem is that we don't respect for the game. And again, it go back to the same recreation football. Okay. Wow. So that's what we did. That's what we did. Unless we don't have men as leaders. And you see, like me and Naka, they go always find fault with us. Because we're from the old school. We know what preparation is. We know what training is all about. And we know what discipline. Because I tell you, I was sacked from the national team for discipline. So no man look at me in my session and want to disrespect what I do. Because I know it's because I have a second chance I get. That's why I'm here today. So you don't come in and with no disrespect. I want to disrespect. No, it doesn't happen. And some men don't want to be among people like that. They want to go with a coach that they could say what they want, act what they want to act. You know, like the session, a guy coming late, he walk in, I say, "Pana, you're late already. You have to walk a little faster than that." He don't give me no. He just keep walking. Simple. I say, stand up, steady. I say, listen, very carefully. If you are not feeling well, go back home. If you are okay, move a little faster. Same place, I say, stop, go back. It already yet. But if you're late, partner, you're supposed to show me that you're late by making effort.
Yes, showing that yes, you're concerned, yes.
So this is my philosophy in this thing, and people don't like it because of that. They feel that if an next coach come late and they say, "Come get on joining session," I say no. I say, "What? I will come here. I'm the only charge. You get on joining session like that." I say no. You come work so boss. You have to come here and talk to me first. And these are the principles that some people don't like. You understand? They find you funny, they find you difficult, they find a man mean, a man ignorant, a man. Yes, I agree, but for the right reason.
Okay. Well, before we close the program, I want to take just a brief break with a little song here. You know what I mean? Just a little fun song and so. You know, and we come right back. Well, I wouldn't even call the title of the song yet because I'll allow Brother John. Brother John, you already know that you should have it lined up. So let's just drop that one on us for the last before we leave. Let me get a taste of that one. Brother John, yeah, man, bring it.
Yes. You're making that. Yeah, but that's a Bible.
Last year Carnival, it was so exciting to see so many people on the street. Man, woman and child, everybody in the jamming. They making Carnival a reality. Suddenly everybody start getting down. Willing to inspect and tell Puri song. Them rebel lads don't care if they live or die. This woman just come in front me. She come from the USA. Come down here for the carnival. Hoping to enjoy she stay. Hear what she tell me? Oh, Grenada carnival nice, nice. Man, Grenada carnival sweet. Whoa, yo, yo, Grenada carnival nice, nice. If you hear she coach, Grenada carnival sweet. And without no fear, she two hands in the air. Like a carnival queen, she dancing away. The way how the woman dressed, she look fit and healthy. With she leggings and socks, sneakers, jackets and jersey. The way how she dancing, she making me feel irie. But these days with age, you cannot trust nobody. Boy, next thing I see, she bend down too. And she shout how Grenada could sweet so. Then she turn and watch me and start to smile. Next thing she start to back on me. My heart start beating heavy. I started saying the Our Father. And then with the Hail Mary, I was feeling irie. Boy, Grenada carnival nice, nice. Man, Grenada carnival sweet. Whoa, yo, yo, Grenada carnival nice, nice. If you hear she coach, Grenada carnival without no fear. She two hands in the air, like a carnival queen. She dancing away.
Yeah, she dancing away, Brother
Yes,
John.
man.
Yes, I. That's the man. That's the man. Carlos Pecos Lewis.
That big someone is.
Yeah. Edmond Caliste.
Edmond Caliste.
Yes. Yes. Acaliste. Yes, he's a Caliste. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that Caliste
Yeah,
too?
there's a number of Caliste in Guelph, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Caliste families in Guelph. Maybe you must be connected in some way, you know. Okay.
Well, I find looking at big Sam and big Sam cookie and them.
Yeah, you're looking at them. Yeah, yeah. Mm. Okay. So that is Carlos Pecos Lewis, multi-talented, as you would have heard here this afternoon. Football, all of the sporting disciplines, top line coach, referee, musician, Calypsonian, and you know, there you have it. We've been here now for 2 hours and counting. Any final words, you know, Pecos? I've already said I'm looking forward to this thing in 2021 with you and Coach Nakan. It's for these reasons I invited him to come here. You know, I know he's listening. I invited him to come here, you know, to be here today with us, to be part of that conversation. Because as you mentioned, that he also plays a role in the physical training development. And I could tell you, I've heard some of the ladies who are in your exercise class who say, boy, when Pecos can come and Naka come, they doesn't like that at all because Naka does, you know, does put them through some paces. That yes, you know what I mean? When they come out, they all the body hurt in them, you know. Yeah. So, I mean, any final words that you want to share before we close the comfort zone for today?
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to Naka. I mean, we and Naka have a good thing going. We share a lot of things. They're not just football and not sports, but he worked with me in football as well. But it's so funny. My sister was married to his brother,
right?
Catherine.
Yes.
And you know, so we have this kind of camaraderie and this kind of connection. So, and plus we were competitors for many years in basketball.
For many years in the basketball.
Yeah. But we find our calling. He is in basketball, I in football, but we still share information. I will support him in basketball, he support me in football, I support me in netball, he support me keep fit. Whatever I do, he always so funny. You always find yourself to come and jam me up.
Yeah.
You
you all strengthen each other.
Yeah, and which I think is a good thing. And we have the mindset of what we hoping to see achieve in St. John's.
What is required.
We're looking forward to it. And I guess 2021 could be a year that we could sit down. We already spoke about it already. Sit down and put things together and see how we could develop the sport through not only the playing aspect but in the administration part, because I think that's what is lacking. You know, as put in St. John's administrators. You know, and if we could do that, once that happen, I think we have a good direction of where we want to go. Okay. And again, Pablo, thanks for giving me the opportunity. Mr. John, good to see you, and I hope that come back again next time.
Oh yeah, you welcome to come back. We undoubtedly happy to have you here, and we surely would want you to return, especially when this thing begins to take shape between yourself and Coach Naka. And so, you know, the opportunity to come here, because as you mentioned, you know, in order to get to a particular altitude, you need to build the proper attitude. So we hoping that we can continue to have these kinds of conversations, you know, and share it widely out there, so that people and the younger folks can begin to appreciate what is needed, you know, for them to get to a particular level and for them to get the kind of successes that you and Coach Naka, you know, are actually enjoying at this stage of your maturity.
Okay. Right. So before I leave, John, one more thing. I don't want to say something to thing, but after all these years of hard work, Finally, I was given an award, BEM award from, from the Our Majesty Queen
Yes,
Elizabeth.
yes, 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 yes. Man, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's a good thing to know.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
so
missed.
yeah, well, I didn't get it. I didn't get it in my hand because of the COVID. The situation
Right.
didn't allow things to mature, and materialize. But yes, I would mention that they were giving me an award for service, community service in St. John's, Post in St. John's. But I
Okay.
just want to show you that for the listeners to understand and be aware.
Right. Yeah. It's good to know that when you have people who play that kind of role in terms of their contributions, that they get recognized for it at whatever level, and it's good to know that yeah, man, I know coach go take me to task on that one, eh? I know he go take me to task on that one. Yeah, that I missed that one because I'm aware of it. In fact, he and we had conversation about that too, and I just got so caught up in all.
There's so much things to be said.
There's so much, man. I'm telling you, because I mean, brother John, remember I spoke about it last night at the end of the program, and there you have it. It's here today, and you get it firsthand for yourself, as to the level, I expect because I did share with Stephen Fletcher that this was going to be taking place today, and he said he'll definitely be listening in and so on. But even those people that missed it, it's going to be up online. It's being shared on YouTube because I have this YouTube channel where I upload these programs, and so even people who are not on Facebook, because a number of people not really on Facebook, they can access it on the YouTube channel and so on. And I do put Talking Point there too, so don't worry, brother John. Talking Point is on YouTube.